Sup traders, in this video we're going to do a little bit of study on fair value gaps, specifically on the 1 hour and 4 hour. People are going to ask, I've got a custom indicator called daily levels and gaps. It lets me see gaps, weekly highs, monthly highs, which we're going to leave on. And what I like about my indicator is it shows filled gaps too, so we can look at how price reacted to certain gaps. Now, um, that is a private indicator, and that's only available to insiders. But let's move beyond that. So, fair value gaps came to me as an ICT concept, and the concept to me, it's like, why do they work? Well, when price has an inefficient straight line move up, it means that there's probably limit orders that didn't get filled. And if price returns to these levels, they're going to be hit with limit orders. So that's typically what my understanding of why. Okay, it's not going to show all of them. So we'll have to just kind of look at what's still around. Right now it's just showing up to here. Kind of labeling them. There's a couple right next to each other, 5. See this low one here. This one didn't last long. 7, 8, and then we're going to come back and kind of see what happened. And then we're going to go to a different area on the chart. 10, 11, and there's a couple in here. 12. To me, a gap, it's a lot better when it survives for multiple hours. So let's come back and look. And then go to a different time frame also. This one. We're looking at the bullish gaps only, so we need to look at the bearish gaps too. 13. Try to be more efficient about this. Here's that same one. Okay. So let's take a look. This gap was created. Price has not yet returned to it. But this gap was created and it became support much later. Look, if you had a limit order at the start of that gap, it would have been a good local entry. This one, if you had a limit order at the bottom of it, it would be an okay local entry. This gap is very interesting because price bounced in it once, came just shy of the midpoint, bounced in it twice, and then a small bounce the third time. So that's the concept is fair value gaps tend to be good for multiple bounces, but those bounces become weaker and weaker. Now, once an uptrend was established here, we'll put in a replay so we can see what was going on here. So once an uptrend was established, this gap found support. This one found support. This one found support. It's really amazing, right? If you think, okay, this could be my limit order and help guide my stop loss. It's the lowest small tiny sliver gap worked great, right? So one of the concepts is price reaction gaps that are beyond. So they want to sweep liquidity into the gap. So this one is good because we have a sweep into gap, right? It's also okay if it's a sliver, but here again, we also have a kind of sweep into gap. Why did, here's a question, this one didn't really work. Actually, this one did cause a reaction, but why not this one? Well, actually, this one worked too. Why not this one? Because there was no sweep really. I mean, I guess they don't always work as part of it. This one had to sweep something, right? Okay, this one just kind of worked. Now, why did none of these work and just not even give a reaction? Well, because on the high time frame we swept a major low, major high. So now actually it's the bearish ones that start working. So we're going to come back and look at those. But yeah, the bullish gaps start to fail. These ones give small bounces. And of course, price came down to if it was going to bounce anywhere, it's going to bounce in the gaps, right? So this is just a local price action. Let's go ahead and take a look at um, the bearish side of things, and then let's flip it and look at a different area of the chart. But see, we took this major level, and then the long gaps are created, and the long gaps start to work. Okay? Now the bearish gaps, price moves through them, but something happens here where once we sweep this bearish gap does act as resistance here. And then this bearish gap, price rejects, price doesn't even reach, price rejects in the front of the gap. Okay? Now will these gaps continue to work as resistance, or will they start to work as support? Kind of remains to be seen. I think once we take this low, we might see it flip. It might already be happening, but for now I want to see the major level taken before getting in there. Let's look. That could be the bottom on Bitcoin. It's possible. I don't want to bet that though. Let's pick another area on the chart. And see what was price doing here. Starting in here, support. See how it reacts. Sweeps this into here. Takes a while to move, but does. Sweeps this. Support. If this gap is resistance, we'll fall through these, right? See how this little sliver gap worked? Let's look at the start of this range here. How this gap worked. Initially, this one, we went lower, but we didn't go much lower. This one worked. We went much lower, but it was a good entry. So part of the idea of using gaps is to fill them with limit orders. Sliver gaps, you want gaps that are past liquidity, so this one didn't work. This one, yeah. Spend more time on this later. Hope you find it helpful and useful. Much love.